Let's discuss what to do if the abuser is a police officer. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I've been counseling men and women who've experienced abuse as well as those who have been perpetrators of abuse and or violent crimes. I have a commenter here. I had done a post a little while ago. I'm catching up on my questions about, intervening when you see child abuse in your family. In particular, intervening when you see abuse in your family. In particular, child abuse is what I meant to say. And this commenter is asking, what do you do when the abuser themselves is a police officer? I cannot tell you how many times I've gotten a question or scenario with this. Real life scenarios with this happens. It depends on, for me, to answer this question, everybody's situation is a little bit different. I'm going to be giving general suggestions. I don't know what, you or anybody else's situation is behind the computer. So, take with that what you will. But having counseled, many people who've experienced abuse by police officers over the years, it's going to be a little bit different for everyone. So one of the things that I would do, and again, it depends on, your level of safety, if you feel like you can get away, those kinds of things. If you're not directly related to that officer, but I also recognize that officers do have weapons, and sometimes they do use weapons outside of their job. So with that being said, if you can, I would try to contact their department if you feel safe enough doing that, in reporting that directly to their supervisor, or a supervisor there. Usually they will take down information. If you want to report a complaint, they will take that information in. The next time, or number two, the next time you witness or overhear that officer abusing someone, you can contact 911, and you could say, I want to report what I'm hearing, which is a domestic dispute, those sorts of things. So you can certainly do that. If you are married to this officer, I would definitely encourage you to consider reporting it to their to their supervisor first and foremost. Particularly if their service weapon is involved. And in a lot of cases, it is. I'm not saying your case, but in a lot of cases it is. But even if there is a threat of using a weapon or things like that, you could certainly report that and say that you are concerned. If you've contacted the police and the police come out, one of the things that I've helped people with is if the police come out and your spouse is a police officer, but they're not even embarrassed or fazed that their colleagues show up to their home, that is a dangerous person, and you need to get away from them as soon as possible. In my experience, that never ever turns out well. That person will continue to escalate. If they're willing to do something in front of their colleagues and they're not worried about the consequences of losing their job, their livelihood, or things like that, that is a person, in my experience, that has nothing to lose. So you need to try to figure out an emergency plan to get away from that person, or either, offer an intervention. I would say it's best to try to work one-on-one with someone to develop a plan, because some officers, unfortunately, can become very right-winged. They can hoard weapons, and not just firearms. They can hoard other things like explosives and things like that. Some may, again, they start to, especially if people start to feel paranoid about what's going on in the government. They're talking about, living off grid, or digging a bunker underground, that kind of stuff, which unfortunately it does happen quite a bit with officers, or even like getting some buddies and ganging up on somebody, or doing some other things, if they're comfortable with doing illegal activities at their jobs and not worrying about getting caught or the consequences. You may need more interventions than what I can give you here online, just out of responsibility for the public. So I hope that helps. But always call 911. If it's urgent or emergent, that's what I would recommend. If you feel comfortable talking to them, like maybe you're a friend of the family or something like that. Maybe it's a situation where you can get other family members roped in to have the conversation. My hair has got a lot of volume today. I don't know what it is. But you could sort of do that. You could have other people sort of join you to have that conversation. But, definitely try to contact their department. And you could sort of do that anonymously. Where you call and report something. Technically, you can call 911, from, a number, a payphone if you can find one of those, or either another business number or something like that. But anyhow, hopefully that, or, there's other ways that you can do that, but it might be worthwhile. Hope that helps. Thanks for asking. And I'm sorry I can't be a lot more specific, but some of those situations that I've worked with people on have gotten really volatile. Thanks so much.